about time. We don't need to go to war with Russia. We need to go to war with
because
fucking
of their
France.
threats of violence. Threats of violence
now
are
they're deporting
not
us from
free
France.
speech. That's not freedom of expression.
No,
that's just
like they're deporting
thuggery.
people from France, from England.
And further, if
They're
woke
English
Marxist
are getting
ideas
deported from
stood up to
France.
proper scrutiny, they wouldn't need to make threats of violence to shut down their opposition.
Yeah.
Would they? No wonder Donald Trump's White House has a problem with the state of free speech in the UK right now.
Yeah, and then they're blaming Donald Trump, and
Yeah,
Donald
Jeff,
Trump
I mean,
blaming
this one really winds me up.
Yeah, it winds me up when they're trying to blame Donald Trump.
A family member of mine who was
It
like
does.
2 hours,
I mean, I don't have to
loved
agree
with
on
every
everything like
fibre
he
of
says,
my
right?
being,
Or he does, yeah.
was
I'm not agreeing
destroyed
on everything, yeah.
by Edinburgh University.
I agree on most things what he's doing. If you don't get the fuck out the way, they'll take you out the way. We'll move it then to people. Move out the fucking way. Get out the way. Or we'll take you out of the way. If you step in front, we'll have to take you out the way. It's simple as it's going.
Marxism, socialism,
well, if you're fucking innocent, well, don't go in the way.
When I saw what happened to the family member, you could see it was very strange. It's just one of the most saddest episodes of my life to see that happening. And as far as I'm concerned, every left-wing lecturer in this country needs to be kicked out, lose their pension. They need to be kicked out of the education system, out of the halls of education. I'm sorry, these are communists. Let's not mince our words. These people are communists. And yes, you're right, there is a melting pot there as well between the far left and in this unholy marriage between the far left and extreme Islamists, which doesn't appear extreme to the kids when they go there. They just think, oh, it's all just relativistic, how racist of white men to find this unpalatable, this extremism.
I mean, I don't feel sorry for them. Do you know the other one?
That's how it was spun to
Well, it's just get out of the car like a normal woman or normal person would do.
Edinburgh University for what happened there.
Okay, you might have broke the law. You might have not meant to. Yeah. And you might have to take the punishment and get in jail for a couple of weeks or whatever the fucking case might be.
Yeah.
But whatever you've done.
Now this one does. Right, I'll put it up. Chirac says ethno-nats are the only right. Anything else is on the left. Ethno-nats are very, very, very dangerous people. So
let's get this straight. When we're talking about ethno-nats, what we're talking about. When we say ethno-nats, I think we're talking
decided
about
not to get out of the car.
Those people who basically say
people over.
It's white.
I know it's run people over, but you
run
for
the past 14 generations. Well, maybe not that extreme, but for a number of generations that you are white.
Police or whatever they're called over there over.
England, for instance, I'm just using England as an example.
Maybe what you might class the military people over here over.
Even the English
whatever they're called.
The Anglo-Saxon heritage of the England.
Ones with the guns over there, I don't know
the police. If you
police.
trace that back, you'll find that goes to
Denmark, whoever they're called. The same thing as the police over here.
The Angles,
same thing as running over armed police officers in, say, let's say the fucking airport. So you go and run over an armed police officer in the airport.
Also some in Ireland as well.
What do you think you're going to get? Shot dead.
So if you can have
End of.
Migration,
it don't matter if you do that in England, you're going to get shot dead. Really, I mean,
the land that quantifies and qualifies as England today.
I was going to say what qualifies as England today.
Require most English people to leave England and to go back to Denmark and to Frisia.
No.
If that's
it all depends on the situation in England, let's say.
Anyway.
But what I'm trying, let's just put an example. Like you just said, my example of that one being shot. If you went to the airport and tried to run over an armed police officers, or you run over them, what do you think the outcome is going to be eventually for yourself if you don't stop the car and get out? You're going to be shot dead.
Yeah. We are told that was
so she got shot dead for her own problem.
I just think it was another expression of what we are now
nothing to do with Donald Trump. That I'm sorry.
Except with a different.
I mean, Donald Trump might be to blame for some things, but you can't blame him for that.
Control of
private
companies and
he might be to blame
corporations
for a
instead of the
few things, but
nationalisation of
cannot
them.
blame him for
Same
them
end
things.
game,
That
same end
sort of
result.
thing.
Anyway, there we go. But do you know what? You've had your say. I can't read the name. Is it Chirac?
Chirac
Yeah.
7504.
Chirac. Yeah. Okay. You've had your say, and
Can they blame the
this is
people
what
that
we're here
shot
for. We
her
will debate on the Jeff Taylor
for
channel.
maybe
But I will have to put opposition to
You see,
being too hard?
because I'm
Also
a Christian.
where he is,
I'm a
of course.
Christian.
Maybe
Hang on,
not.
1 second. The thing is, you have to remember, if you are an ethno-nut, then you
Because
are
it
not
all
a
depends,
Christian.
doesn't it? I
That
don't
is
think
completely
so, no.
incompatible with Christianity. Utterly. And so, I mean,
They have to shoot her dead.
You're putting first a genetic
Just
configuration
don't run over
before
everybody else.
the actual formation of this land, which was Christianity. The pillars of Britain. You know, people talk about blood and soil. Okay, well, if it's blood and soil,
What?
fine.
Come on, you don't need to go anywhere.
There are people in this country who would be expelled who have got ancestors who fought in wars for multi-generations, fought in the Battle of Agincourt, and yet the extreme ethno-nuts say, no, yeah, I'm afraid you might have got a little bit of Middle Eastern blood in you, so, you know, you might be a quarter there, so you've got to go. Sorry, you're not Anglo-Saxon enough for us. Okay, well, the Anglo-Saxons, okay, in that case, need to also go back to where they came from.
Come
If
on.
you're going to play these silly ethno-nut games. No, Christ is a formation.
And where would they go? Where would they go? Where would someone
Well,
who is centimates
Yeah,
of what's required by the ethno-nats, where would they actually go? Where would they be sent to? Get on a
They
boat
don't care.
and go.
Oh,
Yeah,
And that's even worse.
there's Millie.
The other side of it is, of course, that Ben Habib,
Millie.
you know, he's more British
That's
than
your friend.
just about every single woke idiot I've
Who's
met.
your best friend?
But he wouldn't be allowed.
You're the
Nick
that.
Tenhoney,
Millie is your
with his
best friend.
Italian roots, wouldn't be allowed.
Millie's your
But there's
friend.
the whole thing is just a nonsense.
You love
it's more.
Millie.
I'm more interested in the
You
person
love
themselves,
Millie.
not so much what they look
Yeah,
like.
you do.
And ethno-nationalism for me is wrong.
Millie.
It just won't happen.
I love
The thing is that
Millie.
that doesn't mean to say that I want
I love
everybody in here. All I
Lexington.
want is properly controlled immigration in the tens of thousands, where we can bring people in under control and they can join in with us, learn our ways, and it just then because they're such a small number, they don't overshadow us. That's all it is. That's what it's all about. That sort of thing.
Yeah, and there's more to this as well, Jeff. You know,
I love you.
look,
I
Britain
love
wasn't
you.
formed or based on actual racial purity. That's what people have to remember. It wasn't. So, it doesn't. So anyway, we'll get this ethno-nationalist thing because, you know, it's a very small minority of people who feel this way and wish to see and have their own version in their minds of what constitutes a British person and an English person.
I really love
you. Know, they have the definition of what is English. Okay, that's in your mind. Because I can tell you one thing. For nothing. Historically, when Britain was invaded by what we will call the English, yes, I know it's going to wind some people up, but the English, you know, from the descendants, from the Jutes and the Danes, you know, and the Phoenicians. When the Brits who were here discovered this was happening, they actually left the country. They felt they were pushed out. And the only place they found commonality was actually in Spain. I think it was in northern Spain. Yeah. They had to leave because they were being outbred by people they perceived as being of a different genetic background. So that's how far this thing goes. If you want to play this game, let's have a rational, logical talk about this. Let's even pull up the DNA files on this one as well. Yeah. Because that will give a very interesting perspective of what Britain is today.
Like me, I'm Britain, I'm English. I'm not Britain, I'm English.
Thank you very much. Comes up with this. Agree with me or you'll be sorry. You wouldn't want to think for yourself, you might leave the collective. And that's what a tolerant Marxist would say, something along those lines. Yeah, you have to agree with me. Yeah. I should be sorry. And thinking for yourself. Can you imagine thinking for yourself and being outside over there while we're all thinking the same thing here? That's very telling. And it goes on to say the National Socialists were all about ethnicity until they escaped to South America and discovered Hispanic women. That alone defeats the argument. Yeah, that's a classic. That is. Oh, yes. Yes, I like
You
that
get all
one,
the
yeah.
attention, you.
Yeah, the number of them that ended up down there, you know, even the man himself is said to have got there, yeah.
yes, Mr. Adolf was meant to have gone there. There are places, in South America, where you have these villages and towns that you'd swear you were in Bavaria. It's quite surreal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
And it's all rather strange. It's like, oh, you know, they're openly proud of the fact that they're descended from Nazis. And okay, then, you know, that's your thing. But then it's quite funny how they try to sort of like cover it up as well. Are you a Nazi? Oh no, I'm not a Nazi. Until they sort of get together, probably.
Well, I'm not descended from anybody like that.
In their Lederhausen and yeah.
I'm descended from Yorkshire,
as long as
Manchester.
Sons haven't got little moustaches, we're all right there then. Yeah. Yes. I think we'll move on now to the American market. Let's have a look at something in America. Because interestingly, believe it or not, the United States 2020 election, 6 years ago, is once again making the news. Here's what The Skiff said on X, which was then reposted on Truth Social by Donald Trump. So let's have a look. President, let me just take this one down, if I can. President Trump's legal team exposing the 2020 election fraud at the Georgia State Farm Arena, pulling suitcases full of alleged fraudulent ballots from under tables after the election center was shut down, running the same stacks of ballots over and over and over all throughout the night until Biden was ahead, stealing the election from Donald Trump. This is exactly why the FBI raided the election center today in Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia. This is only the beginning. Prosecutions are coming. That sort of caught my eye a bit. Right? These elections coming back again. Oh, by the way, SCIF, that's a technical term, stands for Sensitive Compartmented Information Facility, and it's just a specialised room for processing highly classified sensitive information. So it makes a great username. But my question is, how come it's taken 6 years to get to this stage? If they thought there was some sort of problem with this election, why has it taken so long to get here? 6 years. Is there going to be any evidence left?
Nope.
Is anyone going to have kept it? I mean, I know that the Germans after the Second World War kept such fantastic records that we were able to track down loads and loads of their rather nasty people because there was loads of proof pointing at them. But I think most people are a bit more sensible than that. So how can it still be found? Surely the perps would have destroyed the lot. But just to continue from that, it doesn't stop there, because Donald Trump also put on Truth Social. Breaking. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has just released hundreds of bombshell Russiagate documents, proving that Barack Obama personally ordered CIA agents to manufacture false intelligence on President Trump and was actively working with the enemy to undermine and erode Americans' confidence in our democracy and President Trump's landslide 2016 victory. This was a coup attempt by Barack Hussein Obama and his cronies. As Jesse Walters said, whatever happens to these guys is not revenge, it's accountability, and it's time for people to pay the price. Arrest Obama now. Well, there you go. And that's on, I just caught that on Truth Social earlier this afternoon, only been up for a few hours. So I think there's a lot to come out of the US, because remember, a lot of this is down to appointments. Who appoints which head of which organisation? Are they an Obama person, or are they a Trump person, or a whatever, a Bush person? Are they Democrats? Are they Republicans? You know, right now in the UK, we're meant to have this totally independent and non-biased civil service.
But we don't.
The Americans do it completely differently. You bring your biased people with you and they get on and push that biased agenda because that's what the government was elected arguably to do. We've got to the point in Britain now where we need to either impose independence and a non-biased approach on the civil service, or accept that that has failed because they're not unbiased. They are totally and utterly biased against the people of the UK. We need to throw them out. Maybe we need a dose for 10 years of bringing people in, highly biased people who will do what the government wants and follow through on it. How about elected judges? Instead of following woke diktats and saying, we can't send you back because I've just looked through the nth law in the nth degree and down in the small print of the ECHR says that he must stay here for life at your expense. I don't want that. So, that's, maybe we need a bit of Americanism in there, I don't know. Carlos, thank you very much. End the invasion. Trump orders 75-nation ban on welfare-dependent migrants. Trump bans 75 countries retroactively on the 21st of January 2026. So, I think he did something like that, didn't he? To try... In America, the left are absolutely against the state trying to control borders, trying to control anything.
Yeah.
It's for them, it's just anything goes in this wonderful world. Bring loads of people in, make sure they bring their substances, make sure they bring in their weird ideas about, your offspring. It's I don't want any of that. We need to bring, and in America, at least Trump's trying hard. He's up against a lot of people, but at least he's trying hard. In this country, we've got facilitators of all these things going on, haven't we?
Yeah.
So,
nothing about anything.
Right.
That's why I've said.
Bring prayers back to Parliament. I'm not sure they ever got them. I think they have got them, but it sort of is not so much about, the Bible or anything like that these days. Yeah. And I would much like to see us amend the oath that MPs take. I think that the oath is too late when you've been elected. It's too late. What you should do is make the oath. And it should be an oath to the country and its people.
Sorry, get out the fucking way like Trump
not to a head of state or a person. Should be to the country
and its laws, its legal system
and everything. And it should be taken before you stand.
I was going to say.
Before you stand for Parliament. Because one of the things that comes out of that is the Sinn Féin MPs. They never, ever, ever swear allegiance to the country. They want to destroy the country. So they stand for election, get elected, but never go into Westminster. They get paid, they get all the trappings, but they do not go into Westminster. They're not allowed in because they will not swear allegiance. So the people that are elected as Sinn Féin MPs are their people are not represented in Westminster. So I find that wrong. If you want to stand, let's stand for within Parliament for election in support of the country. So that's my view. Anyway,
from Rebecca Hicks 35. So we said it again, Rebecca. So Rebecca Hicks 3554. When is UK going to get ice, and when do I get to join? Yeah, there are a lot of people in the UK right now who really do wish that we had a very similar system to the American ice system. Obviously, those on the left would be very much against it, but who cares? Who cares what the left think about ice? What we care about is trying to find the people in this country who should not be here. At the end of the day, look, to allow people into this country illegally, to allow them to stay illegally, committing criminal activity, destabilising our culture and our country and a lot of other things, including our economy, allowing that to happen, it's a travesty. It's absolute travesty. if you can allow that, then why don't we just allow all other crimes to go unpunished? In fact, we live in a country where there are so many crimes that now do go unpunished. Shoplifting, we've got epidemics of that going up and down Britain. It's like people are just turning their backs on, they just don't care. They just turn their entire backs on the issue of shoplifting. And there are people doing TikTok videos on teaching people how to do it. And you think, what on earth is going on? What on earth? How did our culture fall so low? And there's something which you've probably all seen quite a lot of recently. You see it on social media. You see video footage of Britain. Well, we'll focus on England right now, but of Britain going back to the 1980s. Oh, it looked very different. In fact, the 1990s looked very different. Even the early 2000s, Britain looked quite different. But you go to the 90s and it was like, oh, it was quite different. And then the 80s, it's like, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's substantially different.
Yeah.
70s, 60s. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you look at footage of especially London, especially the capital city. And I'm not going to say what's different, but something was very, very different. Yes, okay, I will say it. There was a different sort of ethnic makeup. And this is, by the way, going back to the ethno-nut point here.
Yeah.
Because when you say you're against the ethno-nationalism, which I am against, however, does that mean I
even
don't
the cats can't catch up with the fucking rats.
Horrific enforced demographic replacement of the white indigenous people of the United Kingdom? Of course I grieve it. It's disgusting. And there needs to be some reversal.
Yeah, because they want to kill all cats and dogs, don't they?
We need to find a way
kill all fucking cats. Now they can't kill all the bastard rats.
People of this country and say,
yeah,
I'm sorry,
great idea.
Your replacement was wrong and it is okay to be white.
Yeah.
And the encouragement of replacing people based on their ethnicity is what has done what we have today through the actual system itself. The mechanisms of the system have tried to ensure that the white people are replaced, and that's the way it is. And people say, "Oh, it's a conspiracy theory." No, shut up. Just take a look at London. Go to Birmingham. Go to Luton. Go to Manchester. Go to the many places.
I'm from Manchester.
Go to Newport in Wales. And you'll see that things have changed demographically.
Berry Market, black pudding.
It's not about saying, I don't like people because their skin's darker, because that's absolute rubbish.
That's white and white.
That's not the issue. The issue was this is enforced, and the white people are becoming a minority, and will be a minority if things are not reversed. And that's the trend, the way things are going. And that is racist, by the way. To accept that is a racist thing. To think that there's no value to white people, especially when I look at white young males today, I think, oh my gosh, what has happened? You are the lowest of the low in the eyes of society, and that's awful. How did we allow that to happen? If you were to say, like, all right, let's take a look at Africa. Maybe we should all, it's acceptable for the blacks to be, in sub-Saharan Africa, somebody used to say it's acceptable for them to be outbred and to lose their distinctiveness. What's wrong with having a bit of having individuality and distinctiveness?
Yeah.
I keep saying it. My own son is mixed race. And I think that didn't happen because I was racist. And yet. At the same time, I very much value the white race as well. I value all of them. They're all distinct, unique and culturally. I used to like, because it's this whole thing of a pan nation, I suppose is the way to describe it. A pan nation. See, what's a pan nation? It's the coming together of all different nations into one. And that is extended across Europe. I remember France was so unique. As a kid, I used to go with my parents to go to France, and France is an incredibly unique place. It had its own flavour, its own distinct culture, its own feel, and you felt like you were in France. Now, since the EU and the pulling down of borders, France doesn't feel like France anymore. Brussels doesn't feel like Brussels in Belgium, and Germany. I don't know what Germany is anymore, and I don't think the Germans do either. We've lost our ability to to hold on to that distinctiveness, and that is the problem. You see, that is why.
Well, I can hold on to mine because I'm English.
Gaining traction with not too much traction.
My granddad's English, my great granddad's English. We're all from Yorkshire and Manchester.
So readily and easily.
2,000 years worth.
Because there's a legitimate grievance out there amongst the white and indigenous people of Europe. Now,
Norman conquest.
The thing is, then you get the people
my
who
family
then start
from there.
maximising the potential
The
of
Poynton
this.
family.
And there's one individual who's out there at the moment, and he's saying,
Poynton and the Boynton family from Poynton.
Do you know what that means? Because that'll probably mean you're going to be
Stockport.
if you're Anglo-Saxon, if you want to take that to its logical conclusion, okay?
In Yorkshire.
And you've got people
Manchester.
calling for this
Greater
total
Manchester.
remigration, and it reminds me, because what he has done, he has found a legitimate grievance of the people of the West.
For
and he's
2,000, well, 100,000 years.
And it's the same thing.
1,000 years, sorry.
A friend of ours, Jeff, I spoke
Over
to him
1,000
recently,
years I've got.
And a religious man.
So
and he
it's
said
probably a lot more, like you
and
say.
he reminded me,
Like I think, about 2,000 years
Eve
worth there is.
was beguiled by Satan through a half-truth, you know. It's like, oh, you know, you shall be as gods, but it turns out they already were in many respects as gods. They didn't need to know the difference between good and evil. But that's not the lie, that's not the truth that was told to them by Satan. He spun it. And he
That's why I'm very English. My mum was born in
There
England,
we go, sorry.
Manchester. My dad was born in England, Manchester.
Yeah,
I was born in North Manchester, England. My granddad was born in Stepping Hill.
Elections are rigged.
Well, my
Peterborough,
dad was born in
Hamilton,
Macclesfield. My granddad was born in Stepping Hill
underlying
Hospital.
thought, isn't there? And I've said
My
it before, I said
great-granddad
it
was
again.
born in
When I first
Macclesfield.
started going to election counts, they used to bring all the boxes
So
in
that's
sealed.
why I
So
know
you'd have loads of
that I
councillors
am
from each
English.
party. So you'd have several from each party, and they would watch the count. They would watch the
my
boxes
DNA
brought
will
in,
be
you know,
99,
big
well, probably
boxes.
95%
They would
English.
cut through the seals, pour the
99%
ballots onto
English.
the desk, and show you the thing was empty.
Depending on my
They'd
mum's
actually
side, it
show
could
you
be
it was empty.
someone from
They've
Wales.
changed that now. All the
Not
ballot
Wales,
boxes
Ireland or
are taken
something.
into a back room when they're
I'm
delivered.
not sure, 100%
They're
not sure, but
unsealed there, and then suddenly arrive opened
I know my mum was born in
in front of the
Manchester.
counters. And I looked at this, I
Yeah,
thought, this is a
right.
bit of a trick
My
change.
dad was born in
And this happened a
Macclesfield.
few years ago.
So
So it's something I don't like. I want to
it's my
see
mum's
this
parents that I
sealed up
think were
again.
born in Manchester,
And,
my mum's mum.
It's almost like they're treating it as a, well, it doesn't matter really, is it? It's just a few bits of paper. And I want to get this all tightened back up again.
So
I
if
do
her mum and
have
dad were born in England,
suspicions
my
about some of
mum's
this.
mum
If they don't do
and
it
dad,
properly,
my mum,
people
everyone
will
was
have
born in
suspicions,
England.
won't they? People will come forward. Oh, it's just
Classifying
conspiracy.
Manchester and
No,
that.
it's not conspiracy. If they're not following correct procedure,
I'm
there
definitely
is a
Manchester,
reason
England.
for not following correct procedure, and it's not a good reason. Now, Carlos says, please remember that USA Minnesota law allows 8 friends to register and vote in
Oh, it's
Minnesota,
getting
where
late. I
many
think I'm going to
cities
bed.
have more voters than residents.
I've got
Yeah.
to cut this one off and go to bed now. I'm
Wow.
sorry.
And that can happen in the UK as well, unless someone really keeps a close eye on if people have
Thank you
a
very much for
holiday
Caroline
home
Poynton.
somewhere
Bye now.
or they